It's not depression if your life is depressing. It's not anxiety if your life is stressful. Sometimes we are so quick to pathologize and diagnose people as if the problem is internal. But sometimes the problem isn't internal. Their life is just a mess. And if your life isn't going well, of course you're not going to feel good about yourself. It's only depression or anxiety if the person's perception is not in alignment with reality. But for a lot of people, their life isn't going well. And so yes, they feel depressed. That's because they're looking at their life objectively and they're not seeing anything hopeful. So instead of focusing on coping skills and managing symptoms, we need to help people manage their life better and figure out what is going to give them purpose and meaning.
Hi, welcome. This is Dee. Thank you for stopping by. We're going to be checking out videos about how society or the world as a whole, everything that we have to do that we are not comfortable with and we are not happy about doing is really something that people like us, like we actually as a society accepted that this thing should be the norm and these are the things that we should accept and be doing. And it's like, if you think about it, it's kind of, messed up because we are unhappy with this living situation, but at the same time, we are the ones who chose that living situation. But you know what, before we get right into this video, please make sure you click the like button. It helps with the algorithm and I appreciate that so much. And subscribe to the channel if you like my content and you want to see more of it. Let's get right into this video.
Literally every...
You don't want to participate in a sick society, so naturally that means you're the one with the mental illness that needs the medications and therapy. The society we're in right now is set up to isolate and depress you. It's set up to make you feel like you need more, to be a consumer. You don't need all of that. You really don't. And it's making you get into this perpetual feeling of franticness and anxiety, like you must have that, I have that, I have to buy that, and then I have to go work a 9 to 5 so that I can afford to pay for childcare, so that I can afford the things that I want, so that I can buy a house and a car and all of these things. And I don't want to do that anymore. I'm done. I'm tired. I'm really tired. There's more to life than that. And then I'm the one that gets told that I have the mental, oh hi kitty, the mental illnesses, the problem fitting in with society. I don't want to fit in with a society that's sick. I don't want to fit in with a society that breeds depression and anxiety and this frantic state of consumerism. And I want to raise my kids. Why would I pay a daycare to raise my kids and then I'm not even making that much money at the end of the day because it's all going to daycare? Someone else raises my children. I can raise my children. I'm just done. I'm tired. And I have left the Matrix and now everyone looks at me like I'm crazy. I look at all of them like they're crazy. I think once you wake up, you cannot go back to sleep. It's wild. I don't want to be part of this sick society anymore.
Thing in the world that we have to do, we decided that we had to. Like, in the beginning, there was no responsibility.
We were just fucking
Apes running around doing what the fuck we liked.
Fucking eating shit, fucking running around, swinging on trees. And at some point, we decided,
let's pay some taxes.
let's exploit labor
and make people pay taxes. That'll be really awesome. Let's make existence
Suffering.
Guys, brilliant fucking idea. Looks like we got it pretty good. Let's tone it down a little bit. Let's all
Fuck each other way too much so that
there's way too many of us, and let's create a society that is based off of someone's monetary value and the amount of capital that they attain in their life, and let's put them in a perpetual
state of fear.
Will they have enough? Like they're gonna have to
save for years and years to buy a house. But then we're gonna pressure them into making a family and fucking even more and procreating even more so there's
more people.
Like, guys, we don't have to do this shit.
Does anyone else feel like you're too aware of how fake society is to participate in it properly? You know that all the months are just made up by someone. All the religions are just made up. All of the street names are made up. The money's fake. The jobs are mostly fake. The government is fake. It doesn't actually serve the people. Everything is just bullshit and you can see through all of it. And it's just too hard to participate in a full heart way. The saying ignorance is bliss is so true because once you realize all of this whole matrix that's formed around you, you can't just walk around like everyone else participating willingly.
You really got to live a small life for you to be really happy. Everybody wants these big houses, all these cars, they want to have material things. If you can make enough money where you have no anxiety over bills, but that may require you to have less things, it is far better than living off of credit and trying to live a life that is outside of your means so that you can look cool to other people. And I say this with even like fitness stuff. Like, you don't need to be the biggest, leanest guy at the gym. You just need to be in shape so your health is good and you look better than most people. And I think that about everything in my life. Like, I have a family, but we get to stay with our daughter at home. My wife doesn't have to work because we live in a condo. We didn't go buy a huge house. We bought a condo. So we have a small condo. It's enough for the three of us. And it means that, like, the rest of my money is never a problem. So I get to live a small, low anxiety life. I recommend it. It's much better.
You'll just be minding your business, complaining about some shit that you totally justified in complaining about. And to come around talking about some, well, it's men's fault that society is like this. What do that got to do with me? Oh, men made society. I didn't make shit but my in bed and breakfast this morning. So what the fuck is you talking about? I ain't made a thing. I'm in this just like your silly, simple ass. The fuck? I can't stand you. Y'all really be thinking y'all eat when y'all say that shit too. Oh, man, you created it, so it's completely your fault. What the fuck did I create? Other than my mother 2K player. What? A 6'7" slasher. That's the only mother thing I done created in this society. Really be thinking they eat when they say that dumb. Oh, well, you're the reason that, man, I ain't did shit. I ain't made a law. I ain't touched nobody I ain't supposed to. What the? How the fuck is it my fault?
You can tell how effective a society is by how meaningless politicians are. Just think about what I just said there. If you travel anywhere in the world and you see like societies that are doing really, really well, and you ask them who's the mayor, who's the president, or who's the minister of agriculture, generally the citizens don't know. Because the role of good leaders is to get out of the way. And I think for any of you here who lead people, you know what it is that I'm talking about.
It really is crazy when you realize that society is so fucked up the way it is because it's being ran by a bunch of narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths. I'm talking about literal textbook definition, narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths. Because you think about it, the best way to be in a position of power is to be narcissistic, sociopathic, or psychopathic. So they're the ones who make the laws, they make the rules, they dictate how this society is built. And the way this society is built trickles down into the people living within it. And this would perfectly explain why nobody wants to show their feelings anymore. It explains why everybody just wants to manipulate each other and get over on each other. It explains why can't nobody trust anybody anymore. It also explains why the vast majority of relationships nowadays are transactional. Everybody literally is just becoming teeny tiny psychopaths, narcissists, and sociopaths without actually being the full-blown textbook definitions of them. And it's really crazy when you quiet down all the noise around you, it becomes very clear that this is exactly what's going on.
Western society is a scam. Check this shit. You wake up early in the morning to go to work in order to pay for a house that you hardly live in order to pay for a car that primarily gets you to and from home to work and back. The government take anywhere from 30 to 50% of your wages. And then there's things like VAT, which means you get taxed on money that's already been taxed. Save up your whole working life for a pension. And at the end of it, the government will take 40 to 50% of that. And then in your old age, you're living off canned soup and bread and water. Mate, we're all getting scammed. Then you got your state pension, which you can't get until you're 130 years old. And even then, if you die before you get it, you can't pass it down to your kids. The government take it back. We're getting scammed. Mate, we're all getting scammed. How can you work like 40, 50 hours a week? Like 200 hours a month. You give your life to a corporation, a company. And then halfway through the month, you're struggling to get to the next payday. We're giving our life away for nothing. It's a scam.
I was talking with my sister earlier and I said, sister, don't worry. Your brother's not suicidal. But damn it, I just don't want to do this anymore. I am really having a lot of trouble getting out of bed every day to do what? I'm questioning, what the am I doing? What am I a part of, and what are we building towards? What are we as a nation, people of this nation, what are we trying to build? Because the nation is in decay, it's rotting, it is falling apart. So what are we doing? Income inequality keeps growing. There's more and more misery and suffering. More and more people are losing anything and everything that gives them any semblance of comfort and stability in their life. What the are we building? I'm spending the vast majority of my time here, pulling wire, hooking up all this audio and video gear for this arena, giving a great new audio and video. I can't come here to enjoy a fucking show. It's too fucking expensive. The detachment, the separation of the worker from his labor, alienation. And then again, I'm part of a society that doesn't even know where the fuck it's going. It's heading off the edge of the cliff. It's heading for decay and erosion. So it seems like any fucking thing that we are doing, all the work we are doing is doing nothing more than patching and puttying the holes and the cracks that are everywhere in this system. We're just prolonging the inevitable, is all this sense I am feeling. It's on its way to collapse. So what the fuck am I doing? Accelerating the collapse? Trying to hold back the collapse? But either way, it's going down. And it's the overwhelming feeling I feel that, why? This is not how our existence was supposed to be. We shouldn't have the vast majority of our life slaving and toiling away, get the crumbs. We're meant to just spend our time with each other, with exploring nature, smelling the flowers, getting down and staring at a pile of ants for 30 minutes and just in awe and amazement at how are they working and getting their little society up and operational. Laying down, staring at the clouds, staring at the stars, connecting with nature and animals and each other. That is what I'm so compelled and pulled to do, but you can't. Just a little tiny bit of time that you had to do that. Other than that, no. Get the fucking here, make the shit for the ruling few, and here's some crumbs. Good luck surviving on that. No time for you to enjoy existing. You were born to serve someone else. I don't want to do it anymore. I am sick of doing this. And ultimately, that's where I feel we're at. It's almost like we're this close to collapse because we are losing confidence in the system, in each other, in the nation as a whole. And there's, I forget the word exactly, but it's a pile of sand. If you drop sand, just let it pour, it will form a perfect little building, if you will, like a hill. It'll go up as high as it can. What's funny is it gets to a point where it's so tall and unstable that one tiny grain is moved or displaced, it falls. Like, damn, does that not feel like that's where we're at? We are so close to that one tiny thing triggering the absolute collapse. Because I just think it's all in the back of our consciousness. That this system, the way this is, the entire structure of the economy, of society as a whole, of the world, is no longer working, is no longer serving society. And I think our collective consciousness is pooling it, and that is why we're all slowly losing faith, losing confidence, losing ambition, motivation to keep whatever the fuck we're becoming from becoming. It's like, oh my God, this again, I'm realizing all my energy and labor is going to now a Yahtzee nation. I don't want to help build a Yahtzee nation. Are you fucking kidding me? No. So they put the fear on me. Well, if you don't do it, we're gonna fucking put you on the street and you will suffer. But there's still that contradiction, that conflict within will exude into our reality. So, all right. Just a little 15-minute, I'm on my break and I just wanted to share thoughts. Thanks.
I just saw that video of the woman who went to the restaurant, and her waitress was the 81-year-old woman named Betty. And she overheard Betty telling another table that she can't retire because her Social Security doesn't cover all her bills. So that's why she's still waitressing at 81 years old. And this woman started a GoFundMe. And so I click on the GoFundMe, and it's like over $100,000 in this GoFundMe to help this woman retire. And I'm just getting emotional looking at all the $5 donations, like the $5 ones specifically, because like if you're giving $5 to a GoFundMe, you probably don't have that much to donate. But people, so many people, thousands of people, just $5. And I'm just getting so emotional because it's like, we didn't have to build the world this way. That like when you're old, you're just like on your own, and there's no, like, there's Social Security, but it's not enough. And like in juxtaposition with the fact that like we cannot get enough people to like decide that on the whole we should do that for everyone. Like we should pay more in taxes to support people in their old age and support people's healthcare and everything. But we have so much generosity for an individual story, for an individual person that like pulls on our heartstrings. But like we cannot muster enough generosity to make that our reality for everyone. And it's just so, the American like individualism is so, I'm getting emotional over how much we support individuals, scrolling all these people that donated money to this random woman they saw a video of. But we can't get past that. Like we can't take that feeling and that support of people individually and make it into like a society that supports us all, so that we don't have to do GoFundMes for Betty to not have to be a waitress at 81 years old. It's so fucking depressing.
I feel like this realization that we've had this past decade that everything is socio-constructed has been really interesting, because although we don't talk about social constructivism anymore the way that I feel like we used to talk about it a few years ago, we've continued on that path to, I think, almost a standstill realization that everything is social constructed, and not just social constructed, but social constructed by the imagination of an old white guy a really, really long time ago. Like, the system doesn't work for you or for me or for anyone other than an old white guy, because they created the system and we've normalized it over centuries as how things are. But not only that, there's been a concerted effort to make you think that that's what you want, that this is the life that we should all aspire to. I was actually talking to my colleague today about owning a home, like this rhetoric that millennials cannot afford homes, and we definitely cannot afford homes the way that our parents did. But my colleague was like, who told you that you want a home? Like, do you want a home? Do you want a white picket fence? Or have you bought into the marketing campaign that you should at a certain age have all these things? And he's like, in all seriousness, owning a home, this like marketing campaign of owning a home is helping banks maintain the steady flow of people borrowing money from them at a certain interest. Like, if you can afford a home and it makes sense for you, by all means buy a home. But just know that that was not something that you came up with. That was something that someone told you that you wanted. And we've been realizing this about a lot of things. Case in point, engagement rings and getting engaged, and the whole ritual around it was a marketing campaign by Deborah's to sell more diamonds. But the further we dig, in my opinion, we get to the core, which is society. The fabric of society in our reality was constructed centuries ago and has been adapted over the centuries by people, by one specific group of people. And so now that we are realizing, oh, the system doesn't work, the system's broken, there's so many issues with the system, it's because the inception, the creation of the system was for and by one specific group of people. And through normalization and indoctrination, we are convinced that that's what we want. And it makes sense. Kids are born into this world as blank slates. So we tell them, this is the world, this is what makes sense, this is natural, this is normal. But now a lot of us are waking up and saying, wait a minute, wait a damn minute, this doesn't actually make sense for all of us. When all of us are put into the room, actually, this doesn't make sense for everyone. And I think right now, like, we need to come to the understanding that, like, It's not about adding on top of a flawed system anymore. It's about like, okay, let's break everything apart, whatever that looks like, and start fresh again. Because we've tried to build upon a flawed system, and there's cracks in the foundation. So that's not going to work anymore. We need to like radically reimagine society that thinks of everyone. Because we're going to continue to have this push back and forth between like white supremacy and fascism and that taking over, and then actually inclusion and openness. It's like we're building upon a shitty foundation. We need to start from scratch. We need to dig deeper than we've ever dug before.
I used to sit and constantly wonder, like, what is my purpose? What is this big thing that I'm supposed to be doing? And then one day I stopped and I realized, I'm like, what if your purpose is just your existence? Because sometimes I think we forget how much of an impact we can have on people just by being who we are. Just by something that you said or something that you did for them could have changed their life and you don't even know it.
Concept of society and everything that we're doing, honestly, a lot of it do not make sense to me, and I feel like we're living in a world where everything seems to be backwards. Like, there's just so many things that are just not going right. Everything just seems like, is there a possible way where things could actually be repaired, fixed, get better? Or there's just like, I don't know if some things are just bad, that they're too far gone that you just have to destroy it to start again and rebuild, or what? Because like nothing, like seriously, it's tiring. And a lot of people, like collectively, a lot of people that are suffering can all admit, like, even if you're not suffering, the world, like everything just doesn't seem like, is this how we're supposed to live? Because it's tiring when we have to live a life where we don't feel fulfilled, we don't feel any sense of, you know, worth. Like we're just like zombies, like we're literally just living. Like, are we robots? Like we're just walking around doing repeated activities. The world would have been a so much better place if there's less individualism, selfishness, and people actually collectively care for each other. You understand? When you care for someone, someone else care for you. Like, you guys care for each other about what affects the other person kind of affects you, and you guys just want to do better for each other, have each other's back. Like, life would be so much better. But we're living in a world where everybody's like struggling and be like, ooh, I'm trying to get better so I can be ahead, and I won't be in the same situation as these people, and I can be above, I can be better, or problems don't affect me, whatever economic problem it is. I want to be, you know, get myself out of this so it doesn't affect me. But it's like, yeah, you get out of the problem, you make money for yourself, but people who are still struggling and suffering. But we live in a world where that promotes just be concerned about yourself, do better for yourself, do not care about others, like just leave them alone and go up. Don't worry, keep working hard. You're gonna get to that point, you're gonna get to our point and be here as rich, like be as rich as we are. But you know, this circle is so little, we don't really want a lot of people coming in here. You've made it to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching this video to the very end. Please make sure you click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new here and you're watching me for the very first time. Hit the notification bell to get notified every time I post a new video, and leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.